Okay, my name is Dominic Lang, and this is my video assessment for Tequila Sunset by Jal Kenway. I started off by playing a simple little 80s sounding electronic movie. I spoke to Jal, and he wanted something of a 80s Kung Fury kind of movie, so like something that was electronic but futuristic for the 80s. And this is what I came up with. Now, after doing the intro, I went into a different kind of little scenario where I brought in two different kinds of violin to build up a little bit of suspense. One that was like a very, very much lower end, and the other that was a very much higher end, giving it a bit of the mix of high and low, making it a little bit of like a build up in a way. And from that, it goes from the build up to into an acoustic kind of little thing, acoustic little guitar, simply doing plucking of notes, and it sort of is just the general intro to the movie itself, giving it a little bit of like a creepy vibe, as it wanted to be from like a Mad Max. This is a Mad Max kind of style of movie. Okay, so at the start here, when the hero walks in, you sort of hear like a single note of the guitar playing. All these songs are done in C sharp, and the guitar, when he walks in, you play a single note of the guitar, and also when he introduces his name, you have a little bit of a dun-dun of the drums bringing in, sort of to make it know, oh, this is serious. He's some sort of bad guy or good guy or whatever it is. And it goes on like this for a while. It changes when you get to this little bit here where he's about to enter the bar. The hero's about to enter the bar to order a bit of kind of alcoholic drink, and it's mainly just all guitar, no other extra instruments. I believed it would have been cool to have a little bit of a how you could say acoustic country kind of feel, or like as if you're about to walk in and when a hero walks in and something, you just know, oh, this means business. This guy means business. And it goes on like that, as well as also adding in a bit of a slow feel to sort of know that the conversation is sort of just an easygoing conversation as well. Though it's a serious conversation, it's not too serious. It's not something that's like overly done. Goes on like that for a bit throughout the conversation. And then we get to the scene here. Here is where we have the villain about to walk in, and I wanted to give it a bit of a punky vibe, sort of like a when you see a bad guy walk in, you hear like a certain guitar kind of style playing, a certain guitar riff going on, and then a nice little drum beat behind it to give it like a little bit of like a bit of a hard hitting vibe. So it's a very punky yet angry kind of vibe, kind of riff that I came up with. Now it goes into that until it gets to this scene, next scene, which is basically where the villain is walking up to the bartender and basically wanting the beer that the hero has got. And unfortunately he has none left, so I thought I'd give it this a little bit of like a bit of a cello, mix of two violins playing, and a whole bunch of different notes going up. The clash of the notes sort of make it feel very suspenseful and very, oh, this is not going to go well. Give that kind of feel of a kind of song. I also added into it a bit of drumming to sort of a little bit of tempo to make it sort of a bit of like a suspense to add a little bit more to the violin. While the violin by itself would have added in suspense, adding in a bit of drums gives it a bit more of a action feel and give it more of a hard hit. And it goes on like that until we get to the next scene, which is where the villain is having a conversation with the hero and is making some serious accusations. In this scene, I decided to add in a very high violin to make it feel, I could say, well, like, give it a bit of a beginning to the action. It as you sort of moves with it until it gets into the next bit where you go back into the 80s feeling kind of sound where it's like it's the showdown scene. This music is, the drums sort of flow with the scenes itself. When it goes from switching from camera to camera, the drums follow it in a way. For example, now it goes for this, and unfortunately there isn't much more video footage I have, but I added into the next scene where it goes into a flashback scene where it shows pretty much a violin giving it a bit of a sad memory, but also it's a very dark memory, one that you don't want to remember. Unfortunately, I don't have the video footage on here.